another each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello and good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you. What? Good afternoon to me too. Well, thank you. I think I'm hearing voices. There's a man under my bed, and there's a little yellow man in my head. Says you're not going crazy. My wife and I have been watching a show called Mr. Robot. I highly recommend it. If you like suspense and weird shit, I think I'm enjoying it more than my wife. She just likes to spend time with me. What do you want to watch? I'll ask her, what do you want to watch? And she'll be like, you're going to pick anyway. So just go ahead and get it over with. Kind of a selfish prick that way. Oh, it was a hard session today. And if we're not making progress in therapy, usually I feel pretty good, but yeah. It's bringing up some harder topics, of which I'm not going to bring up here. It's a little too personal for me. But the point is, trying to be a better person. But I don't know about you folks, but man, I tend to get a little annoyed at one problem after another of trauma and anger, and sometimes I just don't want to fucking feel anything. All right. I still go through that. You go through that? There's some days I don't want to feel fucking nothing. So what do you do about that, man? Try and be kind to yourself. Talk to other people about it. Key is don't isolate. Camaraderie is going to kind of be the answer to that for me. I think part of it too is it's been a long time. I don't remember much of it, but I had a PTSD nightmare last night. It's been over a year since I've had one of those. And yeah, I do remember it was very violent. I do remember that. But I think it's funny because people are like, "Oh man, I had a drinking dream." That's like the least of my worries. I think I still do have drinking dreams, but they just after my PTSD nightmares, it just doesn't fuck with me. It used to. All right, welcome to Daily Trudge. My name's Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Forever people. You're probably like, what in the heck's forever people, Dion? I'll start it this way. I've never fired a sponsee. I have never ever fired a sponsee. Once I have agreed to help somebody, it's forever. You're gonna have to do something pretty fucked up. Because even the people that blackballed me or tried to blackball me from the industry 5 years ago, I will still help. Yes. Just sit down, Kitty. He's been very, very he's been wanting a lot of attention. Michelle says, I just learned my son and his fiance are having a baby. Oh, congratulations. And I'm sober to be fully present. Amber says, welcome to Amber Country. Have you been riding around in a Land Rover or something there? I live it in a big country. And, it's the only part of that song I remember. Right now, by when I say I've never fired a sponsee, that means they just usually go, and they're legitimate reasons. We all have our motivations, and if you've had to let a sponsee go, I get it. You know, you could be putting that time towards helping somebody else out. Okay, so and we all work a little different. But if that person came back and asked for help, you'd probably be willing. You know, unless they came and took a big old dump on your windshield or something. You know, right? So I think what I'm trying to get to in this one is when we're working with other people, you really can't take things personally. You can't, good or bad. Right. So when I'm sponsoring somebody, if they have success in their lives, man, I give them credit. I ain't gonna get, and they'll sit there to, oh, but if it wasn't for you, and I appreciate that. I do, because yeah, I put some effort into that person, but I didn't really do any of the work. And I have my own successes, so I don't need theirs too. Right? I don't need theirs too. I want them to have theirs. I get a joy out of watching other people put their lives back together. I really do. I really do. I also get upset when people try and interfere with that stuff. You know, this whole sober fad. I mean, will it ever end? They're putting in a new sober bar in Fort Collins, and people want to. We tried this, and it failed. And all that ever came of the sober bar was relapse and death. That's the only thing that came out of that. I'm here to reinforce recovery, and I know people, and recovery does look different. Sure, it does. It looks different to everybody, but we're all on the same path. You and I are on the same path, but you're a different person. You're going to notice different things. Maybe some days you're a little bit further on the path. Okay, enough with the nails, dude. Seriously. I'd give you love if you didn't scratch my leg to shit. All right. I don't have much in the way of patience today, just to let you know. It's a harder day. It's all right. No PTSD or some anxiety. I do feel like it just, it gets annoying. We've been waiting on this money today. They're like, okay, the title went through, only 2 more weeks. 2 more fucking weeks? Jesus Christ. Getting a little angry at God. I don't usually go to God about stuff, but last couple days I've been swearing at his ass. Come on, dude. We can't live like this forever. We can't. All right. So, anyway, we're talking like $20,000 here. We're talking like a quarter of the, yeah. So, but, at the same time, a lot of people have been helping us out. And if Shane and I didn't do what it is that we do, I don't know if that would have happened. I don't know if that would have happened. So, any who's do the was it, so I've never really fired. Here's what it comes down to. I don't even need to worry about firing sponsors, all that other stuff. If I have told somebody that I am willing to help, that means forever. Oh, they went out and drank. They did that. No. I have no right to judge what it is that they're going through. There's somebody really close to me, and I know that they're this close to a relapse. I know they are. Tried to warn them. I got to let it happen. And it sucks. It sucks. But patterns don't lie. Patterns don't lie. If I'm trying to be like my higher power, I did some pretty bad things, and God, to his children and to him and his world, And he still lets me work with his children. Yeah. What would God do? What would God do, man? You know, um, let's see if AI has much more to expand on this. What is a forever person considered in the recovery field? Horrible question. He's probably going to be like, all right. In the field of addiction recovery, the concept for forever person isn't formally a defined term. I know. That I know. However, it can be understood to represent a deeply supportive and lasting relationship that significantly contributes to an individual's sustained sobriety and overall well-being. There we go. That's pretty straightforward in what I'm talking about. Right. Now, if somebody, I'm talking in a broad sense. There may be somebody that there's some people it was the same lie 5 times. I've kind of had enough. Now, if this person reaches out to me again for support, I will, but I'll be anticipating an amends. I will be anticipating that. And without it, I may not do as well of a job. So how am I going to be able to set this apart? How am I going to be able to put that apart so that I could be of maximum service to God and the world around me? Right? Unwavering support. Yeah. You would have to do something really, really bad for me not to take time to help you out if you were willing to do the work. I mean, and even then, I can't think of anything. And there are some pretty bad things out there. Right? But in my world, everybody's a child of God. I am no longer judge, jury, and executioner. I'm not that person anymore. I don't get to make those decisions. And that's probably a good thing. Right? So it's kind of shared commitment to sobriety. Right? And what are those people? We call them litter mates. And sometimes you will be in a meeting and you'll find other people that got sober the same time you did. Maybe you went to treatment together. Maybe you were in sober living together. Maybe you were in the same DUI class together. So you kind of went through that. And because you were able to stay connected, right? Now, I've seen a lot of things in AA. I've seen sweet relationships die. I've seen people get together that probably should not be together. I've kind of seen it all in AA. I'm telling you, when AA represents pretty much everything in the world, right? Well, not necessarily in recovery themselves. A forever person respects and actively supports an individual's commitment to abstinence and a healthy lifestyle. So I can be a forever person, and I don't even need to be an alcoholic. It's about supporting. It's about right actions. It's about right things. Amber says, ask AI what God would do. We're going to do that before I end. I will do that before I end. I didn't see it pop up. I apologize, or I would have brought that up. But I will. All right. I'll ask AI. Why not? It's going to give us some weird answer. Trust and honesty. Trust. People trust me because I'm always here. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. If I'm not able to make it, I will follow up with you. I will certainly let you know. Right. Honesty. If you are out of your lane, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. Because you don't belong in that lane. You want better. especially if you come to me and said, Dion, I'm working on becoming a better person. Right? You can't hang out with me and not grow. I will frustrate you and you'll leave. If you're not growing spiritually, if you're not growing in your life, I will irritate you. I don't do it on purpose, but because of what I do and the way that I act, I only want to be around people that are growing, man. I've got limited time left on this earth. And I don't play around with shenanigans, man. Right? If a person comes to me and it's the third time and I'm going to say this is the third time we've talked about this. I don't know that you really want to solve the problem as much as you just want to complain. If that's the case, then you need to go to therapy. I'm not your punching bag. That I will not do. And that gets to the next thing, respect for boundaries. A forever person understands and respects the boundaries that the person recovering needs to set to protect their sobriety. Hey, Sam, good to see you. So this isn't just respect for their boundaries, but a respect for my own boundaries too. Right? Like I said before, I'm not a punching bag. I'm not here to take your anger. Now, if I'm working with somebody, maybe they're having a PTSD moment. Well, I know what that's like. So I'm going to let them go off for 10, maybe 15 minutes. I'm going to turn the phone down. I'm probably not going to, I'm going to partially listen because I already know that 90% of what's coming out of their mouth is just anger and they don't really fucking mean it because I've had those episodes too. Yeah. And then once they calm down, then we can start to get to somewhere. Right. But if that's consistent, then I think therapy is probably going to be better than me. Being a forever person also means understanding that I may not have the answer. I may not be able to help. And that is okay. Because people like you and me, we tend to know people that can help. Right? I'm only as good as my resources. Yeah. I don't do this alone. Oh. Even when I'm helping somebody else out, I don't do it alone. No. It's often I match people with sponsees, usually women. I know a lot of women that are sponsoring. I tend to know who has space open, and I'm good at matchmaking. It's because I understand my own limitations too, you know. All right. So yeah, respect for boundaries is a very good it's very applicable in this. Celebrating milestones. Encourage. You know, you're going to go to a meeting or in a, you know, you're going to hear it every now and again where maybe somebody's got 30, 60 something days and they just don't feel like they're making progress because you're the last person to see I am the last person to see change in myself. That's not always totally true anymore because I do a lot of internal stuff. So I notice where I'm growing, but other people tend to recognize it before I do still. Yeah. So what does that mean? It means encourage them. I'm having a hard time. This is going on. That's going on. You know, maybe they just had a slip. Maybe somebody, you know, it's now Tuesday. Maybe somebody had a slip on Friday. They come back and they feel horrible about themselves. But to us, they've made progress. Oh, you came back? You wouldn't have done that before. That means something is working. So let's get back to what is working. That is supportive. We don't need more blame and shame and guilt and remorse and all the other bullshit fucking stigma that comes with it. I know it feels like the end of the world, but it's not. It's not. Just go ask the other millions and millions of other people that have found recovery, that have found true recovery. Because there's a lot of fake recovery out there. Yeah. Right. So ultimately, the goal of nurturing such a relationship is to build strong, resilient support addiction. How long are you how long are you considered in recovery? What? That's not even about 6 months to 5 years. Okay, we're gonna ask a couple more questions because I'm curious as to what they have to say, and it's off topic. How much time is considered long-term sobriety? 5 years or more. According to Zia Recovery System. Okay. Shut up.
Long-term recovery.
No. I would disagree. All the Haven TX. It is 10 plus years. 10 plus years is considered long-term sobriety. Okay. In a clinical sense. Okay. Anyway, I was just curious. Now we're going to ask AI. Amber's question. What would God do? It's not even going to give me an AI. It's just going to give me articles. Oh, here it is. It just goes back to WWJD. What would Jesus do? It wasn't as much fun. Right. But let's look. The question, what would God do, is a philosophical and theological inquiry of varying interpretations. In Christianity, the phrase, what would Jesus do, serves as a guide prompting individual consider Jesus's actions, teachings when making decisions. So for us, it's just another set of principles and morals. God, that really didn't make it much fun, did it? All right. I didn't have much more on this one. Wasn't too long of a one. I knew people were kind of expecting me to. So, all right. I'm going to go set up for the 5 o'clock meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It was good to see you. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And have a day.